Incredible true story. This grandmother's heartwarming 30-day journey to life-changing overcoming. In the heart of Maplewood, Grandma June was a beacon of light. At 68, she was full of spunk, her weathered hands busy baking pies that filled the town with the sweetest scent. Summers meant children raced barefoot on sun-warmed porches, laughter floating through the air like a symphony. But then, things took a turn. A devastating economic downturn seemed to creep in like dark clouds rolling over the hills. Grandma June could only watch helplessly as the family farm, once a tapestry of hope and dreams, threatened to dissolve into dust. She felt the weight of her children's struggles on her chest, an all-consuming tightness twist through her. Maplewood couldn't lose its heartbeat. Faced with the potential collapse of a legacy, June's fighting spirit ignited. With a heart full of resolve, she declared a farm revival initiative. But not everyone seemed convinced. Her neighbors, hardened by their own burdens, looked at her with skepticism. Not to mention her estranged daughter, Lily, who left for the city years ago. Turning her back on all of this had become a ticking time bomb in Grandma June's heart. Could she bridge that chasm? Friday night bingo at the diner, she thought, that's where it all begins. So, she rallied the townsfolk. Together, they could lift the farm from despair. But old scars run deep, and during the annual harvest festival, June could almost hear the whispers, could almost feel the weight of judgment from her neighbors. Every shared glance reminded her of the past, of tensions that wouldn't stay buried. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The Harvest Festival was a kaleidoscope of memories for Grandma June, but it also felt like a dagger in her heart. The laughter felt distant, as if her family, her community, were all slipping away. She stood in the middle of the fairgrounds, thoughts swirling, and nearly choked on her emotions. How do you convince people to believe again? As she stepped forward, June's voice shook with determination. We're family. We can change it all. Her words, bright and hopeful, cut through the tension. But would they hear her heart? Would they believe in her vision for a united future? Just as June thought the tide might turn, an unforeseen setback rattled through Maplewood, threatening to shatter her fragile plans. The hard truth loomed: reconciliation sometimes demands painful sacrifices. The emotional stakes soared higher. Would love overpower doubt, or would her world shatter once again? The answer lingered in the air, heavy with hope and uncertainty. Grandma June stood steadfast, ready to face whatever came next. As whispers of discontent spread, a storm was brewing, and she was right in the eye of it. The air crackled with tension, and Grandma June felt the weight of every pair of eyes on her. With every heartbeat, she could sense the doubts lingering just beneath the surface. People exchanged furtive glances, caught between their hesitation and June's unwavering spirit. It was like a dance on the edge of a storm. She needed to summon her courage to lead them through. Let us gather our ideas, June suggested, taking a small step forward. Her voice rang out like an echo of hope against the backdrop of uncertainty. We can hold regular meetings. Share our dreams. We can't let fear hold us back. A few heads nodded uncertainly, and for a fleeting moment, she saw the flicker of belief. Yet others remained entrenched in the shadows of doubt. A large man with a deep frown broke the silence. You think we can turn this around? It's been years of struggle, June. It won't just fix itself. His words hung heavy in the air, like a cold wind slicing through her warmth. But she didn't waver. Digging our roots deep is never easy, June countered with conviction. But look around. Maplewood is our home, and we owe it to ourselves to try. She saw slight shifts in expressions, hints of reluctant acknowledgement. That flicker of hope grew larger, warming the hearts around her. After that night, the vision of the farm revival started to take shape. June organized brainstorming sessions at the diner, inviting everyone. Little by little, stories of laughter emerged, stories of times when the farm thrived, of the golden harvests and the smell of fresh pies cooling by the window. Old recipes were shared along with advice on sustainable farming techniques. Even the children were drawn in, eager to help plant seeds in the community garden, but in the back of June's mind loomed one thought she struggled to shake: Lily. Her absence felt like a fractured piece of her heart. As townsfolk rallied around her, June longed to share her newfound hope with her daughter. "What will it take?" she murmured to the shimmering stars one night. The answer, it seemed, required more than just strength. It needed an act of love that wasn't easy for her to face. As days turned into weeks, Grandma June's heart became heavy with a plan she'd been holding close. She decided to reach out to Lily, to invite her back home. It was time to mend those long frayed ties. But what if Lily refused? What if she didn't want to step back into the life she left behind? A deep fear washed over her. Would that crack widen further, or could her invitation patch their relationship back together? The night she sent the letter was one of anxious anticipation. June stared out toward the distance, yearning for a sign. Would Lily hear her call? She hoped for strength to face whatever came next, the hope gently intertwined with worry. Days passed, and with each sunrise, June anxiously awaited a response. The town buzzed with excitement as the revival plans picked up steam. The communal garden flourished, their combined efforts symbolizing a fresh start amidst the looming uncertainty. But just as optimism began to spread, the unexpected happened. A letter arrived, stamped and sealed, addressed to her. With trembling hands, Laura tore it open, her heart racing. What awaited her inside could change everything. Would it break her? Or would it be a doorway to the healing she so deeply craved? June's heart raced as she unfolded the letter. The neat, looping handwriting was unmistakable. Lily's that her breath hitched. The words seemed to blur, dancing on the page as her emotions surged. "Dear Mom," it began. Her hands shook slightly, but she forced herself to read each line carefully. "Dear Mom, it's been a while since I've put pen to paper. I didn't know how to respond before, and I was afraid of everything. But your letter made me stop and think. Maybe it's time to talk." With each word, June felt a swell of hope and fear battling inside her. A tugging sensation gripped her heart. It was the most vulnerable thing Lily could have written, yet the gnawing doubt still whispered in June's mind. What if the conversation opened wounds that would never heal? As she continued reading, June leaned closer. "I miss the community, Mom. I miss the garden you taught me to love. I've thought about all the times we worked side by side, the laughter. When I close my eyes, I can almost smell the fresh earth and hear the laughter of the kids. But I worry it's too late for me." Tears brimmed in June's eyes. The door crack was beginning to widen, but still, the uncertainty loomed. Would her daughter see the revival as a place of healing, or a reminder of everything that hurt? "Can we meet?" the final line asked. "I'd like to come home, but I need to know it's okay." The response was out of her hands, yet June knew this was the moment she had prayed for. The heaviness lifted, if only slightly. She stepped outside, taking a deep breath of the crisp autumn air. The harvest festival was nearing, and the community garden flourished, brimming with vibrant greens and bursts of color. Hope filled the air, yet in the depths of her heart, she still felt that old shadow of fear creeping in. "Just take a step forward," she whispered to herself, eyes turned skyward. The community may have rallied around her, but the battle for her family's love was brewing beneath the surface. She needed to wrestle with her fears to find the courage to embrace her daughter, to weave their lives back together. As days drifted on, June contemplated how to respond. She'd invite Lily back home, but how could she express what was in her heart without overwhelming her? Words seemed inadequate. Reaching out would mean embracing everything she'd fought so hard to overcome: the pain, the loss, the misunderstandings. That evening, she gathered the courage and penned a letter of her own. Each word felt like an ache, but she pressed on until it was done. "I miss you more than you can imagine." She shared her dreams for the revival, the hope woven into the fabric of Maplewood, and expressed her deep yearning for a second chance between them. She sealed it with a trembling hand and put it in the mail the next morning. the anticipation was torturous. Each tick of the clock felt like a lifetime as June envisioned the possible outcomes. Would Lily see her olive branch as a gesture of hope? Or would it shatter the delicate balance they had precariously held onto? As Thanksgiving approached, June could feel the air growing heavy. She poured her heart into the letter, praying for Lily's reply, but now doubt crept in again. Just as she began to lose hope, the familiar sound of the mail truck broke through her thoughts, snapping her back to reality. The truck came and went, leaving a package at her doorstep. Her heart sunk momentarily. It was from Lily. With trembling fingers, June tore into it. The moment of truth was here, but what would it hold for their future? June's heart thundered in her chest as she peeled back the cardboard flaps. Inside, nestled in soft tissue, was not just a letter, but a small, worn photograph. Her breath caught. She gingerly lifted the photo, revealing an image of a younger Lily, her face lit up with joy, dirt smudged on her cheeks, cradling a bundle of vibrant flowers. It was taken during one of their summer afternoons in the garden, a moment frozen in time. The memory came flooding back, each detail sharp and poignant. June could almost hear the children's laughter playing in the breeze, just as it had that day. Beneath the photo was a well-loved envelope, the edges crinkled and soft. With trembling hands, June unfolded it, an undeniable rush of nostalgia and anxiety washing over her. The neat handwriting awaited her, each letter brimming with vulnerability. "Mom," it started, "I was going through some boxes and I found this photo. I remember that day. God, I was so happy. Why did we ever let that slip away?" I've been thinking. June's heart fluttered, oscillating between hope and fear, each line of the letter luring her deeper into a whirlwind of emotion. Lily continued on, "I want to come home. I know we have a lot to work through, and I want to face all that together. I don't want to just come back to the garden, I want to rebuild everything." Tears streamed down June's face as she read. Each word seemed to lift the weight that had been pressing on her chest. For the first time in years, she felt the possibility of reconciliation tangibly within her grasp. Yet, doubt simmered. What if the healing wasn't as simple as they hoped? As she read on, Lily shared her struggles, the loneliness that had permeated her life. "I've missed our talks, our time in the dirt, your laughter. But most of all, I've missed you. I think about everything that happened, how we drifted apart. I don't want to be afraid anymore." June could feel the warmth of her daughter's honesty enveloping her, yet an undercurrent of fear still clung to her heart. What if they opened old wounds that would never truly heal? What if they grappled with the past only to find it overwhelming? The letter ended with a gentle, cautious question. "Could we start fresh, together? I'll be at the old oak tree by the garden next Saturday. Please come, Mom, if you're ready." The world around her faded as the weight of Lily's words settled in. The oak stood like a silent sentinel at their old gathering spot, a place rich with the laughter and love that had been lost. Could they really create a new beginning? Would she have the strength to face the past with her daughter, amidst the colorful chaos of life and all its unpredictability? June wiped her tears, but the cascade didn't stop. Instead, it turned into a simmering resolve. She had a decision to make, and time was slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. With Thanksgiving just days away, could she find the courage to face that oak? To embrace the chance that there was still beauty, still hope, if only they dared to step forward together. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows in her garden as June clutched the photo tightly in her hand. She had a week to gather her heart, to summon every ounce of courage, to meet her daughter at the very place where they once planted seeds of love. How would it feel to plant new ones, together? And as she stared at the vibrant hues of autumn around her, the question lingered: what would she say when she finally stood before Lily? The days stretched on, each one heavier than the last. June moved through her routines like an actor on an empty stage, rehearsing lines she wasn't sure she could deliver. Morning light streamed through the kitchen window, casting a glow on the table, the same table where she and Lily had shared countless meals, laughter bouncing off the walls. Now, the silence felt mocking. She had planned to prepare a feast for Thanksgiving, a tradition that brought them together each year. But this year was different. This year the heart of her home felt like a barren landscape, waiting for the rain, waiting for something or someone to return. Every time she reached for a pot or pulled out a spice from the cupboard, her thoughts drifted to the oak tree. Its gnarled branches reaching out over the garden felt like a metaphor for all the connections they had, now twisted and tangled. But did they still hold strength? On Monday, she walked into town to her favorite bakery. The enticing smell of cinnamon and sugar filled the air, but it was the sight of the pumpkin pies cooling on the counter that pulled her in. "One, please," she said to the baker, trying to smile despite the knot in her stomach. "Big plans for Thanksgiving?" he asked, leaning on the counter with a warm grin. She hesitated, heart thudding. "I hope so. My daughter is coming home." The words tasted bittersweet on her tongue. "That's wonderful." His eyes sparkled. "Make it special. You two deserve it." June thanked him, clutching the pie like a treasure as she walked home. She paused at the corner of Maple Avenue where the old oak tree stood, its leaves fluttering in the breeze. Could it really be the site of healing? Each afternoon, she found herself visiting the garden, tending to the flowers that Lily had planted years ago. They were now vibrant and wild, transforming the space into a riot of colors. As she pulled weeds, she could almost hear her daughter's laughter brushing against her ears. It was both soothing and painful. Friday arrived, and as she stood before her reflection in the mirror, she felt the weight of her choices. "What if it's all a mistake?" she whispered to herself, tracing the lines on her face. Years of grief were etched there, yet beneath them flickered a spark of hope. That night, she prepared the house, dusting shelves, setting the table adorned with her grandmother's china. June lit candles that flickered softly, casting dancing shadows across the walls. The scent of roasted turkey and buttery rolls filled the air. Then came the moment of truth. Saturday morning. The sunlight poured through the window, illuminating the photograph of Lily that still sat on the table, framed with delicate care. June could hear the soft rustling of the leaves in the garden, reminding her it was time to act. She donned her coat, heart hammering as she stepped outside. The air was crisp, the world around her a canvas of gold and ruby as fall drifted into winter. Each step toward the oak felt monumental, and with every breath, she steadied herself. "Just a conversation, just a start," she muttered, trying to comfort her racing heart. As she approached the familiar spot, she caught a glimpse of Lily's silhouette against the trunk of the oak. The sight plucked at the chords of her heart. Every moment they had shared came rushing back, but this time there was a promise threaded through the air. June inhaled deeply, ready to embrace whatever came next, affirmation coursing through her veins. Her daughter was there, and they were both standing at the threshold of something new. But as she took that final step, a shadow from the past shifted in the corner of her eye, drawing her attention away. What would she do if that shadow turned out to be someone unexpected, someone who had been waiting? Would every fragile hope fall away, or could they forge ahead together? June felt the world around her pause. The silhouette by the oak tree was a figure she had once known well, yet time had wrapped that familiarity in layers of hesitation and fear. She needed to focus on Lily, on the moment they shared, but instinctively, she turned her head to confront the ghost from her past. "Sam," she breathed, the name escaping her lips before she could think. He stepped forward, his presence both daunting and oddly reassuring. Years had carved new lines on his face, but his eyes still held that same warmth that had once made her heart flutter. "June," he said, voice thick with unspoken words, like the air before a storm. "I didn't know you were back in town." "Just for Thanksgiving," she replied, clasping her hands together as if to steady herself. With every shared glance, memories rushed to the surface: laughter, arguments, the raw and tender beginnings of love. How easily they had built a world together, only to watch it crumble like dry leaves in the wind. "Lily must be thrilled," his voice softened, a hint of longing deep within. June felt a pang in her chest. How had they drifted so far apart? Did he even know how much Lily needed him? "She's coming home," she said, heart racing with the truth. "I wanted to make it special, for both of us." The silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken memories and old wounds. "I've missed you." The admission slipped out before she could hold it back. She hadn't meant to utter those words, yet they hung in the air like an unanswered prayer. "Me too," he replied, his expression shifting from shock to something softer, gentler. Maybe it's time we talked. June's heart fluttered at the implication, but a fierce wave of trepidation washed over her. Talk about what, Sam? About how we let Lily down. How we let each other down. Her voice wavered, the fear of revisiting the past pouring doubt over the hope that had just begun to blossom. I never stopped caring, June. About you. About her, he said, taking a step closer. You know that, right? Life just got in the way. The truth of his words settled in her chest. Life had a knack for complicating even the simplest of truths, hadn't he it? We can't change the past, Sam. We can only manage the present. And right now, I need to focus on Lily. Let me help, he offered with such sincerity that June could feel the warmth of possibility sparking between them. Let us do this together. We can make it a Thanksgiving to remember. The idea danced in her mind, a fleeting moment of unity amidst all the chaos. Perhaps this gathering could rekindle something she thought long extinguished. The concept of teamwork, of shared laughter and warmth, nearly made her smile. But deep down, doubt lingered. Could they put the pieces back together without breaking more? As she stared into his eyes, searching for a glimmer of the man she once loved, Lily's laughter echoed in her mind. This was about her daughter, a chance not just for a celebration, but for healing. Okay, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Let us try. But just as hope dawned in those words, a sudden shrill scream echoed from the direction of the house, freezing them both in place. What was that? June's heart raced as fear gripped her throat. They turned toward the sound, an unvoiced concern swirling between them. Could something threaten to unravel everything again? What awaited them beyond the thresholds of friendship and family? June's heart drummed loudly in her chest as she and Sam exchanged a glance, their own worries momentarily overshadowed by the exclamation that echoed through the air. Measurements of fear and confusion ricocheted off the walls of her mind. The peaceful moment they had shared now felt like a delicate thread, ready to snap under the weight of whatever chaos awaited them. Lily! She cried, her voice rising as she took off for the house. The scream had come from the direction of the kitchen, and an icy chill settled in her stomach. Sam was right behind her, his footsteps quickening to match her frantic pace. They reached the back door just as it swung open. Lily stood there, wide-eyed and trembling, clutching something small to her chest. The scene was as surreal as a bad dream, with shadows dancing in the fading light. What happened? June kneeled in front of her daughter, searching the girl's face for answers. Lily, are you okay? It was just a spider. Lily exclaimed, her voice tinged with both fear and frustration. A big one. I didn't mean to scream, but it scared me. The tension bubbled between June and Sam, a sudden rush of relief washing over her. She chuckled lightly, albeit unsurely, as she straightened up. Just a spider, huh? Lily nodded, realization dawning on her as she glanced between her mother and Sam. Mom, is that Dad? She asked, her voice sounding incredulous. Yes, sweetheart. It is, June said, her gaze drifting to Sam, who stood still, equally taken aback. Lily took a hesitant step forward, curiosity etched on her small face. But the last time I saw you, Dad, her voice trailed off, memories of family dinners and holidays forgotten clashing with this unexpected reunion. Sam shifted awkwardly, a slight smile breaking through his earlier tension. Yeah, it's been a while. I just got caught up with stuff, but I'm here now. June watched the exchange, her heart swelling with a mix of emotions. Was it possible that after all the hurt, some good could come from this unscripted moment? She saw the flicker of hope in Lily's eyes as Sam took a tentative step closer, lowering himself to her level. Hey, how about we forget about the spider and start fresh? I'm sure we can think of something fun to do together, Sam suggested. Lily's frown slowly faded, replaced by a glimmer of excitement. Like what? Maybe we can bake a pie? Sam proposed, his voice more animated. I hear your mom makes a great apple pie, and I could use some instruction. June held her breath, the weight of possibility hanging in the air. Baking together. It was simple but monumental, a chance to bridge gaps that had widened over the years. "Can we do that, Mom?" Lily's eyes sparkled, fully invested in the idea. June felt the corners of her mouth pull upwards. "Sure, let us do it together." They moved inside, a tentative partnership forming as they headed to the kitchen. With each moment, warmth began to filter back in. Sam began chatting with Lily about apples, and June couldn't help but smile at the endearing juxtaposition of her daughter's earnest enthusiasm and Sam's awkwardness in a dad role. As they busied themselves with flour and sugar, the air shifted, thickening with a different kind of tension. June caught Sam stealing glances towards her, something unsaid dancing in their space. She felt it too, a spark of a connection trying to reignite, but shadows of the past lingered just below the surface. They had no guidebook to navigate this new territory together. Suddenly, Lily broke the silence. "You guys look like you want to say something," she said, smirking knowingly. "Go ahead, I'll just sneak off to grab the rolling pin." June's heart sank as she exchanged a look with Sam. The moment felt larger than it should, old emotions threatening to overflow as they stood on the brink of a future they could define together or let slip away again. "What if," June began, breath catching in her throat. "What if we try to really be a family again?" Before Sam could respond, a crash came from the living room, wrenching them from their heavy moment. "What was that now?" June asked, her courage faltering as fear gripped her heart once more. As they rushed to investigate, June couldn't help but think how easily this new fragile unity was being tested. Would they confront yet another obstacle, or could this be the beginning of something different? June's mind raced as she and Sam hurried into the living room, their hearts pounding in rhythm with their hurried steps. The sun was setting outside, casting long shadows that felt ominous in the quiet house. She hoped to find nothing more than a fallen picture frame. But what met her eyes was far worse. The table had toppled over, and Lily's art supplies were scattered everywhere. Drawings of family moments, sunshine-filled days, and even the big blue spider that had spooked Lily were strewn across the floor, dangerously close to where the coffee table had crashed. Lily's little face poked around the corner, her eyes wide and teary, hovering just out of reach. "Lily." June breathed out, rushing over to her daughter. "Are you all right?" "It just fell," Lily squeaked, still overwhelmed. "I was getting a marker, and I tripped." June knelt down, ensuring Lily was safe before glancing back at the mess in a flurry. Sam quickly helped her right the furniture. The clatter of wood on wood felt like nails on a chalkboard. Nothing about today allowed for a graceful recovery. As they cleaned up, an uncomfortable silence filled the air. The earlier lightness of baking together faded beneath the weight of what lingered unspoken between June and Sam. "Mom, are you mad at Dad?" Lily asked, a little voice rising above the chaos. "No, honey, I'm not mad." June met Sam's gaze, catching the flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. "But sometimes it's hard to forgive things that happened in the past." Sam nodded, his expression pained but understanding. "I know it's awkward, but I promise I'm trying. I didn't realize how important it was until now." June sighed, looking to the two of them. Kneeling there amid colored pencils and crumpled sheets, she felt a swell of emotions, a mix of anger, hope, and unexpected affection. "We all make mistakes," she said, her voice soft as she looked at Lily. "What matters is how we fix them. How we move forward, together." Lily's face lit up at the word together. "Can we still make our pie?" she asked, her small hands fiddling with the edge of the table, eager for distraction. "That sounds perfect," June replied, forcing a smile, hoping it would help push away the heavy as they headed back into the kitchen. The remnants of the earlier conversation lingered. They began gathering ingredients, the warm glow from the oven casting a cozy light over their movements. Sam and Lily had been chatting about what to put in the pie when June decided to speak again. "I really want to make this work," she admitted. "I truly do." Sam's eyes softened, and he took a step closer, his voice a low murmur. "I do, too, June. I'm not going anywhere this time." That promise hung between them, filled with unspoken hopes and fears. Just as June was about to respond, there was a sudden knock at the door that echoed through the room like a gunshot. Each heart in the room plunged heavily, shocked into stillness. Who could that be? Lily asked, her innocent curiosity ringing out in the tense silence. Her eyes flitted between June and Sam, waiting for an answer. June felt cold prickles creeping up her spine. "I'll check," June said, her voice wavering as she glanced at Sam. They exchanged uncertain looks, knowing the fragile peace they had just begun to nurture was once again threatened. As she opened the door, June's chest tightened. Could it be someone from their past? A chance encounter that would shatter the tentative bond they were trying so hard to rebuild. Her heart raced as she took a deep breath, ready to encounter whatever awaited her on the other side. What stood before her could change everything. June's breath caught in her throat as she opened the door. Standing there, framed by fading twilight, was her estranged mother, Evelyn. The years melted away for a brief moment, and all the unresolved feelings surged up like a tidal wave. Evelyn's face was weathered but familiar, a mixture of regret and determination in her eyes. "Mom?" June managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "What are you doing here?" "I know I'm not welcome," but Evelyn hesitated, glancing nervously over her shoulder before stepping forward. "I need to speak with you. Please." Lily peeked out from behind June's legs, her small frame reflecting confusion. Sam clenched his fists at his sides, his protective instincts kicking in. "Now's not a good time, Evelyn," he said coldly, stepping slightly in front of June and Lily, but June found herself caught between the past and the present. There were millions of questions she wanted to hurl at her mother, yet it felt as if the air was thick, the words stuck in her throat. Why now?" she asked finally, searching her mother's face for answers. Evelyn stepped closer, her voice gravelly. "Because I've been thinking a lot." She gestured toward the kitchen, where the scent of fresh pie lingered. "I want to apologize. For everything." June's heart raced, torn between anger and an unsettling flicker of hope. Could they possibly have a chance to mend this too? "You've had years to think about it, I know." Evelyn shot back, her eyes glistening. "And I was a fool. A terrible mother. I understand if you don't want to hear it, but I want to make amends." Sam said softly, a warning in his voice. He stepped back, giving her space but still shielding Lily. June could feel the resistance hanging between them. It was palpable. "Mom, I don't even know where to begin," June said, her heart a chaotic drumbeat in her chest. "You left me when I needed you the most. It took years to realize that it wasn't my fault. I was running away from my own pain," Evelyn admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "I thought it was best for everyone. But it wasn't." Tears pricked June's eyes, a mix of sadness and frustration. "You can't just show up now, expecting forgiveness. It doesn't work that way." "I understand." Evelyn stepped back, seemingly defeated. "But I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just a chance to be part of your life if you'll have me." Lily broke the tension with an innocent question. "Are you my grandma?" Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, unaware of the emotional turmoil surrounding them. Evelyn's face softened as she crouched down to Lily's level. "Yes, sweetheart. I've missed so much." June stood frozen at the doorway, her two worlds colliding in front of her. The desires for family and the weight of betrayal swirled inside her. Each breath felt heavier, the choice hovering in the air like a pendulum. Sam glanced between mother and daughter, struggling with his own feelings about the woman standing at their door. "Can I?" June's voice quaked, and her question hung as long as the silence that followed. Would she let this new chapter begin, or would she slam the door shut on her mother's chance at redemption? There were no easy answers, only the echoes of the past, but the night felt pregnant with possibilities. Just beyond the threshold, June had to decide which risk she was willing to take, to open her heart again or to protect herself and Lily from what history could bring. As she stood there, uncertainty twisting in her gut, she heard the tiny whisper of hope stirring in her heart. Perhaps change was possible if she was willing to try. If she chose to invite Evelyn in, what would come next? Could they really forge a new beginning, or would their shared history bury them once again? June stood at the threshold, her heart a storm of emotions. The past and present collided in that moment, like thunder and lightning illuminating the darkness of her life. She felt Lily's small hand holding onto her leg, grounding her as uncertainties whirled around them. Evelyn's eyes sparkled with unshed tears, a mix of fear and hope. "Just let me explain, June," she pleaded, her voice soft but steady. "I've changed. I'm ready to be a part of your life and Lily's life." The weight of those words hung in the air. With every breath, June considered the possible repercussions of inviting her mother in. Could forgiveness truly blossom when their history was so tangled? "Mom, it's not that simple," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "You walked away when I needed you most. I've had to build my life around your absence. It hurts so much." "I know," Evelyn said, urgency rising in her voice. "But I want to make it right. I want your family to know who I am. I need to be here." Could she be here? June searched her mother's face for sincerity. As the silence stretched, the second chances she had fought for echoed in her mind. Could she grant one to her mother, like she wished for Willow? Tears brimmed in June's eyes again, but this time, they felt different, like the dawn after a long, sleepless night. Maybe there was room in her heart for reclamation and connection. "Okay," June finally whispered. "But it's going to take time. You have to understand that trust isn't just given. It has to be earned." Evelyn nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks as relief washed over her expression. "Thank you," Evelyn breathed, stepping forward cautiously. "Thank you, June, for this chance." Meanwhile, Lily peered curiously between both women, the past and future converging before her bright eyes. "Can we bake the pie now?" she chirped, eager to bridge the gaps without realizing the complexity ahead. As if drawn by an invisible force, they moved inside together, the air thick with unspoken complexity but laced with the scent of opportunity. June could feel the tension easing as they let Lily lead the way, laughter mingling with the chaos. In the kitchen, they gathered around the counter, flouring their hands and rolling out dough. Evelyn asked Lily about her drawings, the ones scattered in the living room. As a smile crept onto her daughter's face, June felt the warmth of reconnection, not just between herself and Lily but also the beginning of healing with her mother. "You've grown so much," Evelyn remarked, her expressions a mix of nostalgia and regret. "I wish I could have been there to see you chase your dreams." June felt an ache in her heart. This kind of honesty was what they had all craved for too long. "It will be hard," June cautioned gently, as she stroked Lily's hair fondly. "But I believe we can get through it together. If you promise to give us time, Evelyn." "I promise," Evelyn declared, her voice earnest. As they moved to place the pie in the oven, June felt something shift within her. Hope flickered like the light above, and she caught Sam's eye, who had been watching quietly. Their earlier conversation lingered in the air, but perhaps this newfound hope would allow them a chance to confront the past together. Just then, a loud timer chimed loudly from the oven, signaling the pie was ready. Lily squealed in delight, the sound infectious, pulling both June and Evelyn from their shadows. They opened the door to reveal the golden crust, and June felt a rush of happiness bubbling up. Suddenly, that earlier tension dissipated like steam into the air, replaced by a now familiar warmth that filled the kitchen. Laughter erupted as they took out the pie, the three of them unintentionally working together, an unexpected tapestry of joy woven through shared moments. "Let us celebrate Thanksgiving together," June declared, her heart swelling as she looked between the two most important women in her life. "We have so much to be grateful for. We can take this leap together." And with that simple declaration, the atmosphere shifted. Evelyn smiled brightly, and Lily beamed, her eyes shining with hope and excitement, a bridge erected between fractured years. As they completed the meal together, June felt lighter, like the burdens of the past had been lifted, even if just a little. With every slice of pie placed on the table, a new chapter unfolded. "Happy Thanksgiving!" Lily shouted, bouncing in her seat. June raised her glass, feeling the warmth of her family beside her. "Happy Thanksgiving," she echoed softly. "To new beginnings, love, and making memories together." They clinked their glasses, and June realized that this celebration wasn't just about the food or the nostalgia. It was the promise of healing, the intertwining of new futures, and the assurance that their stories, though marked by pain, could also be reflected in joy and hope. As she glanced around at her daughter and mother, surrounded by a community woven together by resilience, she couldn't help but smile. Love was waiting at every corner, ready for them to embrace it. Let us take more steps forward together, she thought, knowing that the journey of healing was just beginning. And as the evening sun slipped below the horizon, a softer glow enveloped Maplewood, hinting at the promise of a new dawn. This is your moment to leap after something beautiful. You need to subscribe now to stay connected with transformative stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the love flowing. Comment below with your reactions and feelings, and let us share the love. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to help us build this community.